Aloha and good morning, everyone. It is Thursday, May 1st, 2025, and the time is 9:03 a.m. Will the Committee on Zoning meeting please come to order? Wanted to wish everybody a happy May Day. May Day is Lay Day. And I see Vice Chair Dos Santos Tam is late today, and I want to let everybody know that it's not too late to go down to Chinatown and buy lei for your family, your colleagues, and your loved ones, okay? I would like to welcome committee members, Vice Chair Dos Santos Tam, Councilmember Cordero, and I understand Councilmember Okimoto and Councilmember Wire will be here shortly. Although remote oral testimony is being permitted, this is a regular in-person meeting and not a remote meeting by interactive conference technology under HRS Section 92-3.7. Therefore, the meeting will continue notwithstanding loss of audiovisual communication with remote testifiers or loss of the public broadcast of the meeting. Members of the public will be allowed to provide oral testimony on all items on the agenda when each item is taken up in two ways, in person in the council chamber and remotely via video conference or phone. Before testifying, each person shall state their name for the record. Each speaker will be limited to a 1-minute presentation per item. All persons who register to testify in person will be called upon first. Persons who did not register will be given an opportunity to offer testimony after the registered testifiers. Once in-person testimony has concluded, I will proceed to the remote testifiers. When I call your name or the last 3 digits of your phone number, please follow the prompts to unmute. As both English and Hawaiian are official languages of the state of Hawaii, pursuant to Article 15, Section 4 of the Hawaii State Constitution and Section 113 of the Hawaii Revised Statutes, members of the public may testify in either language. For oral testimonies offered in Olelo, Hawaii, additional time as may be necessary will be allowed for the testifier to provide an English translation of their testimony. Written testimonies, including the testifier's address, email address, and phone number will be available to the public as described on the posted agenda. As a courtesy, please turn off or silence all cell phones for the duration of this meeting. Thank you. Moving to agenda item number 1 for action. Resolution 25-103 has been canceled. Mr. John Uno was not able to attend today's meeting, so we will reschedule this resolution to a date when he is available. Welcome, Councilmember Okimoto, and I see that you heard my plea for commemoration of May Day today. Moving to agenda item number 2 for action, Resolution 25-96. This resolution grants a special management area major permit to Hale Manakai LLC to allow for the construction of a new 2-story single unit dwelling to replace a second single unit dwelling that has already been demolished. An attached 2-car garage, all-weather surface paver driveway, 6-foot high concrete rubble masonry sidewalls, 10-foot high concrete front wall with electric gate, and the installation of an individual wastewater system on an approximately 19,826 square foot shoreline zone R5 residential district located at 59817 Kamehameha Highway in Pupukea and identified as tax map key 59004-015. Members, we have posted on the agenda a proposed CD1 version of the resolution, which I submitted. For your information, a summary of the amendments is listed on the agenda. The project is located Mauka of another single unit dwelling with an in-ground swimming pool with hot tub and open lanai with fire pit, which is currently under construction pursuant to a building permit that was initiated prior to the enactment of current state law that requires a special management area permit for all dwellings situated on shoreline lots. The project is located more than 80 feet from the certified shoreline, and the current required shoreline setback is 60 feet from the shoreline. The Makai dwelling is located 40 feet from the certified shoreline, which was the required shoreline setback at the time the Makai dwelling's building permit was accepted as complete. Approximately 20% of the Makai portion of the project zoning lot is projected to be impacted by 3.2 feet of sea level rise by the year 2100, but the project is outside of the 3.2 foot sea level rise exposure area. An archaeological literature research and field inspection dated November 2024, prepared by Planning Solutions, Inc., found no evidence of cultural artifacts. The project site does not contain Jacques sand and was previously graded and altered, so it is not anticipated that archaeological and cultural features exist on the site. The project includes an all-weather surface paved driveway. In its report, the Department of Planning and Permitting recommended the applicant use pervious surface materials for the driveway. This requirement was clarified in Condition G of the proposed CD1, which provides that prior to the issuance of any construction permit or building permit for the project, the applicant is required to incorporate into the project plans submitted to the department for review the use of pervious surface materials for the driveway and opening park areas. Before I call up the agent for presenting, I just want to remind everyone for these hearings that I do highly recommend that people at least be in contact with my office prior to the commencing of the hearing. This is a matter of courtesy, because if I don't hear from you and I don't know that you're going to show up, then I will likely have to provide an extension for consideration. So I just want to highly recommend that you guys do that. Joining us in the council chamber is Jim Hayes from Planning Solutions, Inc., the applicant's agent, who will be providing a brief presentation, no more than 5 minutes. For your information, the presentation is available online as Miscellaneous Communication 255-2025.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Jim Hayes with Planning Solutions, representing the applicant. First slide shows the general location of the project site along the northern or northwestern side of Waimea Bay, near, well, on the North Shore. This is an aerial photograph of the project site from 2021, when there were 2 houses situated on the project site. As Chair mentioned, the Mackay house is being replaced. So you can see in this photograph that the Mackay house is under construction. This is a photograph, I believe, from 2023. And the Mauka house is no longer there. And this project is to replace the Mauka house on the project site. And as you can see from this slide, it is outside of the sea level rise exposure area, so close to the highway and outside of hazard zones. This slide shows the proposed location of the dwelling relative to the property lines and the Mackay dwelling. The proposed dwelling is relatively modest, roughly, well, less than 2,000 square feet of floor area. And it includes a 2-car garage that will be utilized by residents of both parcels, or both dwellings on the project site. It's going to comply with all applicable rules, regulations, and land use ordinance, and is consistent with other dwellings in the neighborhood. And my last slide is just a section drawing of the proposed dwelling. You can see 2 levels. The ground level includes the garage. The upper level is a couple bedrooms. So it's a, I believe, 2-bedroom and 2.5 bath dwelling. And again, relatively modest for a North Shore community. If there are any questions, I wanted to say that the applicant is intending, and ours already incorporated into their design, concrete pavers, so blocks as the driveway to provide for stormwater percolation in the driveway areas and in the parking areas. So that has already been incorporated into the design, and they will comply with other conditions in the SMA permit. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Members, are there any questions for the agent? If not, before I call up the administration, I would like to take public testimony. Proceeding first with in-person testimony in the council chamber. Clerks, do we have any in-person testifiers on this item?
Chair, there are none.
Is there anyone else in the council chamber who would like to testify on this item? Please come forward to the testifier podium and begin by stating your name. Seeing none, proceeding on with remote testimony. Clerks, do we have any remote testifiers for this item?
Chair, there are none.
And if anybody is just standing by to testify, please raise your hand or press 9 on your phone to indicate your desire to speak. Seeing none, for the administration, for the Department of Planning and Permitting, Director Takeuchi Apuna.
Good morning, Chair, committee members, Donna Puna. We are supportive of the CD1 that's proposed, and we're here for any questions.
Members, are there any questions for the Director? If there are no questions, thank you so much. The Chair recommends that Resolution 25-96 be amended to the posted CD1. Any discussion, any objections or reservations? Hearing none, the resolution has been amended to a CD1. The Chair then recommends that Resolution 25-96 CD1 be reported out for adoption. Any discussion, any objections or reservations? Hearing none, so ordered. Moving to agenda item number 3, Resolution 25-108. This resolution grants a special management area major permit to the University of Hawaii to allow for improvements to the water intake system and associated electrical and mechanical systems, and to reconstruct and expand the Edge of Reef exhibit, which is an outdoor tide pool display at the Waikiki Aquarium on 2.35 acres of land, Zone P2 General Preservation District, and within the core area of the Diamond Head Special District, located at 2777 Kalakaua Avenue, and identified as tax map key 31031-006. Member, we have posted on the agenda a proposed CD1 version of the resolution, which I submitted. For your information, a summary of the amendments is listed on the agenda. I would also like to propose a minor verbal amendment in condition E9 of the proposed CD1, which relates to protocols if the nest of any endangered, threatened, or protected bird is discovered on the project site. Limit applicability of the condition to during project construction, to clarify that the condition is not an ongoing condition. With regard to the project, the aquarium's water intake system is comprised of 3 water sources: natural seawater, saltwater well, and freshwater. Upgrades are proposed to the saltwater intake system, portions of which are within the shoreline setback area. The project is intended to improve and modernize the aquarium's natural seawater and saltwater well intake system to protect against future failures of the existing deteriorating natural seawater intake pipes, which contain asbestos, by replacing the existing seawater intake pipes with 8 new intake pipes and installing associated electrical and mechanical systems, including 4 media filters, 2 ultraviolet sterilizers, a heat exchanger and chiller air compressors and diffusers, flow meters, and level sensors. Proposed earthwork includes trenching for new underground piping and structural supports, excavation for a new aeration settling tank, new pumps, new pump vault, and new saltwater vault, and reconstruction and extension of the existing pump building. The expansion of the Edge of Reef exhibit involves increasing the exhibit area by 500 square feet from 1,300 to 1,800 square feet. Previously, when a project required both a special management area permit and a shoreline setback variance, the Department of Planning and Permitting would transmit both approvals to the Council. Under the department's new administrative rules for shoreline setbacks and special management area, which became effective on July 25th, 2025, the shoreline setback variance is processed separately by the department after the Council has approved the special management area major permit. Under the new rules, the department has 45 days after Council approval of the project's SMA major permit to process and render a decision on the shoreline setback variance application. Condition B of the proposed CD1 requires the applicant to obtain a shoreline setback variance from the department prior to proceeding with the project. A majority of the project site will be impacted by 3.2 feet of sea level rise by the year 2100, but the project itself will not increase the aquarium's risk and exposure to sea level rise, and instead will increase the aquarium's resiliency against sea level rise. The upgraded equipment and utilities would not be affected by the presence of groundwater because they will be outfitted with waterproof enclosures and connections. Most of the project's structures are proposed to be located within the required yards, so the applicant will be required to obtain a zoning waiver from the Department of Planning and Permitting to allow the structures within the required yard. Also, since the project is located within the core area of the Diamond Head Special District, and is subject to strict design controls intended to preserve prominent public views and the natural appearance of Diamond Head, the applicant will be required to obtain a minor special district permit for the project. These requirements are noted in Condition G of the proposed CD1 relating to other required government approvals. I wanted to mention that iwi kupuna was recently discovered on the project site. The applicant will be providing information on this in the project presentation. Joining us in the council chamber is Lise Ditzel Ma from the University of Hawaii, who will be providing a brief presentation. For your information, the presentation is available online as miscellaneous communication 2/58/2025. And welcome to the chamber, Councilmember Wire.
Good morning, Madam Chair, committee members. I'm Lise Ditzelma from the University of Hawaii. I'm the project manager for this Waikiki Aquarium projects. With me is Jason Lee from Oceanet. They are our design consultant on the project. All right, we could go to the background. Let's see. I'll do it. Okay. All right, just a little background on the aquarium. You probably are very familiar. The aquarium was established in 1904 and has moved to its current location, in 1955. It's the second oldest aquarium in the United States and welcomes more than 250,000 visitors annually. It's a very important educational, research, and outreach facility with the renowned international reputation. And the link to University of Hawaii is, in fact, the educational requirements that we have for them that they are exhibiting on a daily basis. Fish and invertebrates are displayed in approximately 60 exhibits, and an outdoor pool is home to our Hawaiian monk seal, who will be returning in a little over in about 2 months. The current supply water intake system infrastructure that supplies the exhibits now, very antiquated. A lot of the systems are 70 years old in its original state, which is one reason why we need to upgrade all of these water systems. The purpose of the proposed supply water intake system project is to prevent further failures for equipment, utility, environmental, and such that threaten the life and well-being of the fish and animals under the aquarium's care. And it's also to accommodate future expansion for public displays. This is an aerial map of the water, showing the water intake system. I'll also show it on a narrative in the future slides. So starting from the left, the colored shapes that you see, the solid colored shapes, are in fact the systems that we will be proposing. On the left, in a small little pink dot, is a new well. The orange is a new aeration tank. The green is the new pump vault. The blue is the pump filter building. And the yellow is the replacement of the edge of reef exhibit, which I'll talk about in a couple of slides more. The proposed actions for the intake system to replace 2 existing ocean water intake pipes. Just a small clarification to the earlier narrative, it's actually 2 8-inch pipes that are being replaced in kind to the existing 2 8-inch pipes to the ocean. Water intake could be, with our new system in place, 487,000 gallons per day of seawater. This will be better for the environment. As mentioned, the existing piping is transite, which is asbestos containing, and we'll be replacing it with non-asbestos pipes. Construction includes, and this matches the colored shapes that I showed on the diagram, saltwater well, pump vault, aeration tank, filter building, and a whole bunch of miles of new piping, electrical, mechanical systems, and all new equipment. This flow chart just shows you how the 2 systems on phase 1, which was, we got a permit from you last year for the discharge. That is called Phase 1, and on the right side of the page is what we're asking for right now is the intake system. So they work together. Just real quickly, going from the right to the left, the ocean water is taken in from the intake pipes that we're replacing there, and the green pipes goes through pumps, filters, chillers, into the aquarium displays. Saltwater wells go through pumps, aeration filters, also to go through the displays there in the middle with the little fish. On the discharge side, it exits the displays from the aquarium through pumps and filters and goes into the 2 injection wells that we are building right now. So just as a note, the water quality of the water that is being discharged through the injection wells is a better quality than that was intake initially. Okay, this next one shows the new Edge of Reef exhibit. It was existing until earlier, a few months ago, when we needed to demolish it for the construction of the discharge project infrastructure. It will be rebuilt. It's planned to be rebuilt at the same site in a different configuration with a little, you can tell it's a little glass area. It's going to be more enhanced for the visitors. This is the one that's kind of like a petting pond that you know for your children. It's the most popular exhibit that they have there. So we will be replacing that at the end of the project. Next slide just shows a quick cost estimate, $14 million for the intake project that we're requesting. Construction will start at the end of 2026, and it's at that time because it needs to be, it can't start until the discharge project that we're building right now is complete. And that project, the intake, will be 2 years of construction. So the discharge project that's under construction now, I just want to give you a quick update. We started breaking ground in January this year. The purpose of this project with the injection wells shown is to address the citations, violations that the State Department of Health and the city ENV gave to the aquarium. So we are addressing all of those violations in the discharge project. EV kupuna has been discovered and uncovered in 4 locations in the excavation thus far for the discharge project. We follow the process. We stop the day, the minute we find it, call SHPD. We have an archaeologist on site 100% of the time for during excavation. We're working directly with SHPD, with the OHA, Burial Council. And actually today, May 1st, is the day that we are, the notifications in the Star Advertiser go out, and also in the OHA newsletter, both going out today, advertising the discovery and applications from the descendants, possible descendants, will be reviewed and processed in order to work with them and come up with the burial treatment plan. And that's from the discharge project. So whatever burial treatment plan is approved for this first project, we'd like to carry it forward in the intake project. So that's a quick summary, if there are any questions.
Members, are there any questions? Thank you so much for the presentation. I greatly appreciated the modifications that you guys made. It's very easy to understand
Appreciate your
visually,
assistance.
as well as, you know, the narrative. Just 2 quick questions.
Okay,
you know, on the citations from the Department of Health and City, were they actual fines?
There were no fines. We came up with an AOC,
What is the AOC?
Administrative Order on Consent,
Okay.
which described the fines, it described the whole history of the violations. So I didn't say fines. It describes the violations and an agreement between all users, for the aquarium to the city
Got it.
to the UH, on what would be the resolution.
Yes.
And the resolution was discharge project to go through the, instead of discharging into the city system, sewer system, we now go through the injection wells. So that design and construction of the discharge project addresses the violations.
Okay, so, but can I ask,
in the
is it,
AOC.
so is it addressing it in the future, or do you have interim measures in place?
We're addressing it right now with the construction, yeah.
Yes, but the violations is still occurring until the construction is complete?
Yes, we have an extension.
Okay, that's what I wanna,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Just trying to understand.
There's another, a small item that is actually noted as a $90,000 fine if we do not do an environmentally beneficial project
Yeah.
as part of the AOC. So we are working with the aquarium on coming up with, it's actually an educational display
Okay.
that is approved, and if that is put in place within the 4 years, there would be no $90,000 fine.
Okay,
That's
thank you
the
so
only thing.
much. I just wanted to better understand. And then with the EV Kupuna, thank you very much for your proactive approach on this.
Okay,
I just
sorry.
want to, you all of the players kind of know, but I'm just giving you a recommendation because there have been recent projects in Waikiki, because normally you're talking about the Waikiki area,
Yes.
including the Hilton Hawaiian Village. They went through a very extensive process with regard to outreach for lineal or cultural descendants. And,
Okay.
and so just to save you some time, everybody kind of knows. So that's all. I'm just trying to have you save some time because there's been a lot of connections with all of the community. And so if you can just connect the dots, then it could be beneficial for your project.
Thank you.
And I also just wanted to thank you for coming to my office. I don't know if everyone else knew, I did not know the connection to the University of Hawaii, to the Waikiki Aquarium. And while I have been there, I quite frankly didn't, understand everything about the aquarium, so it was really good. And you guys do a good job in both educational opportunities, and
Thank you.
I appreciate it. So members, if there's no further questions, Councilmember Cordero?
Thank you, Chair Kiaʻāina. Thank you very much for being here and explaining everything and making it succinct for us to understand. I do have a question relating to the new aeration tank and then the replacement of intake pipes. And then I'm looking at the proposed CD or committee draft where it talks about any ground disturbing or construction activity. Do you think that because you are replacing the 2 intake pipes that it will cause any new ground disturbing construction activity?
Yes, it's going to require excavation, same as the project that we have going on right now. So, yeah, it will be monitored during construction where the archaeology will be on site, and yeah, carefully monitor any kind of excavation coming out of the ground. Make sure we don't. If EV Kupuna is discovered, it will be handled very carefully. The same thing that we're doing on the current project.
Okay, thank you. And then who does the seabird fallout report goes to? Does it go to the city or DPP or SHIP D?
SHIP D, we're calling it SHIP D.
Okay, good to know. And then does that prohibit you from starting it, or you submit it and then you can continue the project?
Yes, so there's a process that we normally submit a AMP, archaeological monitor plan, on the project that currently going on. SHIP-D came back to say we needed to do an archaeological survey. So they also allowed the survey to be monitored concurrent with construction. So the process is the contractor has to go slow on a 4-inch lift. So everything come out of the ground had to sift through and make sure that nothing is discovered. When something is discovered, construction's entire stop.
Okay.
And then they allow us to move on to a different segment. So on the plan, we divide the project out to like multiple segments. Any discovery on one segment, work stop, and then they allow us to move on a different segment. If there's nothing discovered, then the work can continue.
Understood. Thank you. And I have another question, and it's relating to the lights, relating to no disturbance of fauna, let's see, I believe it's in minimizing impacts to endangered, threatened, or protected fauna, talking about exterior lights that are not security lights are then changed to be motion sensor switches. So does that mean that the lights are then affecting the growth or stunting maybe growth of endangered fauna?
You mean the lighting?
Yeah, the lighting. Is it affecting that?
Lighting only is an issue during nighttime work.
Yeah.
We don't have any plan for nighttime work.
Oh, okay, that's good to know. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Members, any other questions? Before I call up the administration, I would like to take public testimony, proceeding first with in-person testimony in the council chamber. Clerks, do we have any in-person testifiers for this item?
Chair, there are none.
Is there anyone else in the council chamber who would like to testify? Please come forward to the testifier podium and begin by stating your name. Seeing none, proceeding on with remote testimony. Clerks, do we have any remote testifiers for
Chair,
this
there are
item?
none. Chair, there are none.
And if anyone is online who would like to testify, please raise your hand. Seeing none, for the administration, again, Director of Planning and Permitting, Don Takeuchi Apuna.
Thank you, Chair. DBP is agreeable to the CD1, and we're here for any questions.
Members, any questions? If not, thank you so much. The chair recommends that Resolution 25-108 be amended to the posted CD1. As further amended, as we discussed, to amend condition E9 to add the phrase during project construction at the beginning of the condition. Any discussion, any objections or reservations? Hearing none, the resolution has been amended to a CD1. The chair then recommends that Resolution 25-108 CD1 be reported out for adoption. Any discussion, any objections or reservations? Hearing none, so ordered. Moving to agenda item number 4. For action, Resolution 25-105. This resolution proposes an amendment to the Land Use Ordinance Chapter 21, Revised Ordinances of Honolulu 2021, relating to the development standards for the apartment and apartment mixed-use districts. I will now defer to Vice Chair Dos Santos Tam for the explanation of this resolution.
Thank you, Chair. This would be a slightly longer explanation than I normally would, but I think it would help to set the stage. So for everybody's edification and as a reminder, the land use ordinance regulates the use of properties all around the island. It classifies our zoning structure in Honolulu classifies different parcels as residential, industrial, mixed use, business, and also apartment. Within the apartment standards, the table that's proposed to be revised here, Table 21-3.3, sets out the types of structures that can be built in the apartment and apartment mixed-use areas. It regulates things like setbacks, heights, and the floor area ratio, which is a measure of density. These numbers have not been updated since the late 1960s and early 1970s, and since then, we as a city have grown significantly, and because these numbers have been fixed in place, it's made it very difficult to build small and medium-sized apartments. We've in turn, we've seen the development of huge tract home subdivisions out in West Oahu. We've seen high rises in town, but again, these small and medium-sized apartments have been very difficult to build. We recently passed Bill 7, which allows for these types of apartments under certain conditions. They have to meet certain income requirements and all of that in order to get some relief from these very strict requirements. Bill 7 lets you go, for example, up to 4.0 FAR and provides other kind of building code and potentially fire code waivers under Bill 39, which is being considered. But what this bill would do is send a proposal to the Planning Commission that would relax, in a modest way, some of the standards for the A1, A2, and A3 and AMX 1, 2, and 3 zones to allow for the development of small and medium-sized apartments. We've seen with an issue that I care about a lot, the monster home issue. In the residential area, you can go up to 0.7 FAR, and before our monster home regulations, you could build whatever kind of structure you wanted, including a monster home in a residential area. You could not build that in an apartment zone, notwithstanding the fact that those monster homes really are 20-bedroom apartments in the back of, Pololo or in Kaimuki or in the Liha or wherever else. And so my contention is the monster home problem is really an apartment zoning problem in that you could not build, again, a 20-bedroom apartment in an apartment zone right now as it stands. And so hopefully by changing some of the development standards in this table via this resolution, we can incentivize and create a structure where you can build apartments in apartment zoned areas. This doesn't rezone any area. It doesn't change, where you can build an apartment, but it says if you're in an A1 or A2 zone, you can go up to a certain FAR in order to build an apartment in the apartment zone. Maybe the testifiers and TPP will provide a little bit more background. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chair, because I know you put a lot of work into this, I know that you worked with some stakeholders at UHERO and the development community. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, so this actually, this resolution 25-105 is a reintroduction of a resolution from last year, which was resolution 24-148. And in the process of developing that reso and this one, we went out to the development community, the folks who are already building Bill 7 type apartments, and identified, why they were using the Bill 7 program and not just building apartments in the existing apartment zones. Why did they need to get all these waivers? And as it turns out, many of the Bill 7 projects don't even go all the way to the limits of Bill 7. They just need to go up to, say, 2.0 in a place like McCulley Street or Pensacola Street where there's a ton of apartments already. But under the current zoning, they can't. So we went to UHERO also, and we asked them to do an analysis of what would happen if we just modestly increased the allowable FAR in the existing apartment zones. And their report basically said, we would be able to create hundreds of new units in the existing apartment zones below, 4 to 6 stories, not huge towers, and create housing along the way. We also reached out to a number of folks in the general development community as well to get their feedback, and we landed on the numbers that we've seen here. And I know we have a few testifiers who have submitted written testimony, and also some folks here waiting to testify, including somebody who has some of these properties and can elucidate this a little bit more.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Wire, did you want to add anything to the explanation as a co-sponsor?
No, I think Committee Vice Chair outlined it pretty well, but just to, state, I think where the agreement is we want to increase the availability of housing in a way that doesn't negatively affect the surrounding community. And just having conversations with stakeholders, it seems that allowing for increased density, particularly maximizing apartment zone lots, is responsive to the community's requests and demands from us. So appreciate that.
Thank you so much. And to the authors, I do appreciate your highlighting some of the challenges that the state density bills faced, acknowledging it and looking for innovative ways of how the city could kokua. And I believe that this is one avenue for discussion, so greatly appreciate your efforts. I would like to note that if this resolution is adopted by the council, their proposal will be processed by the Department of Planning and Permitting and will be introduced as a bill for 3 readings before the council. So I just want to assure everybody, both members of the council as well as the general public, that there's going to be ample time for input. Before I call up the administration, I would like to take public testimony. Proceeding first with in-person testimony in the council chamber. Clerks, do we have any in-person testifiers?
Chair, we have one standing by.
I believe we have Wilford Motosue. Please come up to the podium. Introduce yourself.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Good morning, Council Chair Esther Kiaʻāina and council members. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to present my testimony this morning in favor of Resolution 25-105. This proposal to amend the land use ordinance by increasing the FAR density for all apartment and apartment mixed-use districts is the best way and easiest way for Honolulu to develop new projects of condominiums on Oahu. This will reduce or keep housing prices from increasing too fast by increasing our housing stock, like everybody's talking about. For example, let's say you have a 5,000 square feet lot, A2 zone. Let's say that you want to build 600 square feet apartments. So right now, the A2 FAR is only 0.85. You could only build about 6 of these 600 square feet apartments on your 5,000 square feet lot. However, if the city, county, and county changes the FAR on A2 apartment zone land to 4, which I am encouraging. Right now, the resolution says 3. I think you can go 4 because they're building units of using FAR 4. And you would be able to build 28 600 square feet apartment units on it. What a huge difference. What is a vast improvement in the increasing stock of on Oahu. And the property taxes would be 4 times greater than what the city would be collecting if they left the FAR presently now, what it is, which is 0.85. So you would be increasing your revenues. Now, in the places like Makali, Kapahulu, Moilili, Makiki, there's tons, maybe thousands, I don't know, of A2 zone properties, okay? And they're all old, they have all old improvements ready to be demolished. So now is a good time to do the change. And that's why you don't see a lot of new apartment buildings being built in town. Only the big high-rise in Kaka'ako. You don't see small ones because it's not worth it for developers to do it. You're only going to be a 4. Why would a guy just replace what he has? No, it doesn't make sense. Well, and the other thing before you let make me go away.
Well, no, actually, no, Wilfred, if you don't mind, because I believe that there's going to be council members who actually have questions for you to continue, because you are the only one here to testify in person, and we'd like to give you an opportunity to speak. But if you don't mind, I'd like to ask members if they have questions so that he could continue his, Councilmember Wire.
Thank you, Chair. Mahalo for being here. Maybe I'm curious if you had to like isolate the biggest impact, or could just share like what do you think the biggest help that's going to come from this resolution? Like how's it going to help the most in terms of addressing the housing crisis?
Are you talking about the resolution? What is the biggest impact?
Yeah.
In that?
Yeah.
By changing what he has now, what you folks have right now, changing those FARs. You know, I think it was a long time ago, I don't know, 60s, 70s, it was bigger. The FAR was big, I heard. And they reduced it to now, which is so small. So there's no incentive for anybody to go demolish their old buildings to put new ones, because most of the owners are older. You know, they must leave it like that, just repair, and let the kids do it already. So you're not going to see any building if you leave it like this. That is my opinion. And I do small developments in those areas like Makali, Moilili, Kapahulu. So, you know, in these areas, the good part is that these areas are already zoned for apartments. You don't have to go rezoning this thing, which takes 6, 7, 8 years. You know, and they have adequate infrastructure already in for most of the areas, not all, but most of them. And there's already existing apartment buildings built there already because they're apartment zone. So you're not increasing or creating new densities in our residential areas like Manoa, Kaimiki, Ainahaina, you know, we're leaving that alone. Just going to these apartment zone land. And you have plenty of properties, smaller properties. Like you can build medium-sized apartment buildings, you know, like 5,000 to 10,000 or less. Most of them are like that. So they're going to be small buildings. Now, the other big thing would be, I think, to encourage small developers to building more projects is that I'd like to request the City Council to exempt most projects from Ordinance 18-10. which requires residential projects to provide affordable housing. The exceptions could be the very large projects like the ones we see in Kaka'ako. But for the smaller ones, I like to request that you do away with the ordinance 1810, at least until our housing crisis has been resolved. You know, you got to catch up in thousands and thousands of units. And I think the small guys, you know, they would get a hard time. They don't want to even touch that kind of stuff. If you have to do affordables and all that kind of stuff, they don't have, and I'll explain to you right now. The big project developers and the city have large numbers of units they are building. And they have the financial resources, personnel size, and cushion to provide these affordable housing, which small projects and small developers don't have. So small developers have an extremely difficult time to produce these affordable units because of their small project size. And so this requirement would create too much of a risk for them to do even a small project. I'm hearing that even the big developers are having a hard time and can't sell the affordable units in some of the large projects because of high interest rates, and the buyer is not able to pass the qualifications, etc. And finally, I think we should provide all our locals the opportunity to buy and own the unit they are living in so they can build equity so that when let's say their family starts growing and they need a bigger unit, they could sell the unit and upgrade to a bigger unit. If they were renting, they wouldn't have built any equity in their apartments to move up because they don't own the unit, only the landlord. Whether it's a state, a private entity, or an individual, they would have built equity in the property on the backs of the renters. You know, so they cannot go up, and sometimes they stay in the housing for lifetime.
Thank you so much. Vice Chair DeSantis-Tam, do you have any questions?
No questions, but I want to thank you for coming here and for your work to create apartments in the apartment zones where they belong. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
So much. Is there anyone else in the council chamber who would like to testify on this item? Please come forward to the podium and begin by stating your name. Seeing none, proceeding on with remote testimony. Clerks, do we have any remote testifiers for this item?
Chair, we have one standing by.
Okay, I see Angela Young.
Aloha, Chair. Aloha, mai kako. Angela Melody Young, testifying on behalf of CARES and strong support. Under that apartment amendment there, I think this new proposal is a good idea. It does relax the land use ordinance in the apartment zones in consideration of the state's policies moving forward to create density, because the state isn't as sensitive to infrastructure needs because I read the legislations and they don't put the Oahu General Plan and Sustainable Communities Plans in the legislations. I read it side to side, and the state legislations never refers to anything within the county's plans. And so I think it's a good idea on a public platform to respond as loud as possible. And also, I think this will be a successful way to prepare for site identification goals for Office of Housing and Sustainable Development from SCR 60. The Reso passed this year gave way to help with density at sites and planning for infrastructure needs as a strategy to accommodate the best TOD practices, which potentially can help with the most infrastructure planning to accommodate needs for apartments and affordable housing projects. And also, the new apartment standards can assist with Department of Hawaiian Homelands because the first DHHL apartment in Honolulu is at Moiliili, and it's a Hawaiian home. So if the apartment standards can relax, it can overcome demand housing supply for the counties and the state together with all these different needs. So this new proposal, I think, will be appreciated.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Angela.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else standing by remotely who would like to testify on this item? Seeing none, we are going to go with the administration to hear from the administration. Director of Planning and Permitting, Don Takeuchi Apuna.
Thank you, Chair. We're supportive of this resolution, and we're here to answer any questions. Thank you.
Members, Are there any questions for the department? No questions for the department? Okay. Do any of you have any questions relating to this matter before I make my recommendation? If not, looking forward to the robust dialogue as it moves forward. Don't get too excited, DPP staff. The chair recommends that Resolution 25-105 be reported out for adoption. Any discussion, any objections or reservations? Hearing none, so ordered. Mahalo, everyone, for being here today. There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned.